Are you ready for a story? Get yourself nice and cozy wherever you are, because we have got an awesome story coming your way.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Riding and I'm a children's author and a patron here at the wonderful and amazing bookshop that is Kingsley Co, one of those magical places you'll ever visit. I've been invited here by Ykids to read you one of my favourite picture books, which just happens to be Kevin by Rob Biddulph. Some of you may know this book, some of you may not. Either way, we're going to have fun reading it, aren't we? So let me adjust myself so you can see. Kevin by Rob Biddulph. This is Sid Gibbons, and this is his mum, and this is the reason they're looking so glum. Sid's dinner was up on the table before, but now it's an upside down tea on the floor. This isn't the first time that Sid's been in trouble. On Monday his ball turned the bird bath to rubble. On Tuesday his pens were left out to go dry. On Wednesday his bedroom looked like a pigsty. Mum folded her arms as she spoke to the lad. Now Sydney, remember the talk that we had. But Sid, he was hatching a plan in his head, and before she could finish, the little chap said, "I didn't do it. I'm innocent Sid. But if you'll just listen, I'll tell you who did. Kevin. Yes, that's right. Kevin, he did it. Why don't you just ask him? He'll have to admit it." Mum was confused as she looked at the chair. It was quite plain to see there was no Kevin there. A satisfied Sid simply stood there and smiled. "Well, what does he look like?" said Mum to the child. He's ever so tall, and he's ever so wide, and ever so smiley," the little boy lied. "Has only one tooth, is as strong as a gorilla. He has lots of pink spots on a fur of vanilla. Whenever I'm down with that sad, lonely feeling, he comes down to stay through the hatch in my ceiling. He's kind, but he's clumsy, and that, I'm afraid, is why he's to blame for the mess that's been made." Mum rolled her eyes and her cheeks went bright red. "That's enough, Sydney. Now please go to bed. And have a good think, 'cause these fibs have to end. You must not blame your mess on a make-believe friend." Grumpily, Sid made his way up the stairs and put on his PJs, the ones with the bears. He sat in the darkness, his mood not improving, when slowly the door to the hatch started moving. Suddenly light flooded in through the chink, which Sid could have sworn was vanilla and pink. Excited and nervous, all at the same time, he took a deep breath and he started to climb. When he got to the top, what a sight to behold! Just look at that sky, what a fine shade of gold. The tree trunks were purple, the leaves made of jelly. The flowers were huge and incredibly smelly. The clouds were all star-shaped, the rainbow was dotty, the ladybirds stripy, the bumblebees spotty. The grass was a carpet of mint green and yellow. And who's this familiar sort of fellow? "Kevin, you're Kevin," said Sid with a squeal. "I can't believe that you're actually real. You're just like my drawing, no need to pretend. We'll play every day, you can be my best friend." Kevin just smiled and took Sid by the hand, and they started to walk through this magical land. They passed lots of beasties that looked pretty silly. Some hairy, some slimy, some leggy, some frilly. Sid smiled and said hi as each one came toward him, but oddly, the strange featured creatures ignored him. Big red, little blue, the one shaped like a kidney. They nodded to Kev, but they looked straight through Sydney. By the time they had rocked up at Kevin's front door, the facts of the matter were hard to ignore. Here in Kev's world, I'm sure you are seeing, 'twas Sydney who was the imaginary being. Now I have to report with a slight note of dread that Sydney was hatching a plan in his head. A plan, oh so cheeky, so tricksy, so clever. Invisible Sid equals bestest fun ever. Are you catching my drift? Do you see what I mean? You can't get told off if you cannot be seen. So Sid scribbled on walls and he scribbled on floors. He bounced on the beds and he swung from the doors. He hosed down the dog and he frightened the hens. He left all the lids off of Kevin's new pens. And when it was tea time, Invisible Sid, well, look to your right and you'll see what he did. Just as Kevin started to clean up the floor, in walked his dad through the wrecked kitchen door. Slowly but surely, his cheeks went bright red. That's enough, Kevin. Now please go to bed. It was then that Sid noticed, as Kevin walked by, a single blue tear welling up in his eye. Suddenly, Sydney did not feel so clever. He actually felt like the least best friend ever. He went up the stairs full of sorrow and guilt to where he found Kevin tucked under his quilt. Kevin, Sid whispered. Oh, Kevin, stop crying. I've been really selfish. There is no denying. I'm terribly sorry I've got you in trouble. I'm going to put right all my wrongs at the double. So, Sid scrubbed all the walls and he scrubbed all the floors. He mended the bed and he fixed all the doors. He brushed down the dog and he settled the hens. He tidied away all of Kevin's new pens. And then he gave Kevin a card that he'd made. My drawing is not very good, I'm afraid, but I hope that you like it and find in your heart a way to be friends like we were at the start. Kevin just smiled and he gave Sid a cuddle, and there they both stood in a big teardrop puddle. Kevin showed Sid the way back to the hatch. They said their goodbyes as Sid unhooked the latch. But before he went down, a reformed Sydney Gibbons collected some flowers and tied them with ribbons. Back in his room, Sydney got himself dressed. They ran to the stairs, flowers clutched to his chest. He dashed through the house from one room to another. At last, in the kitchen, our Sid found his mother. Mum, I am sorry for causing such trouble. I am the one turned the bird back to rubble. I messed up my room and I ruined my pens. I should not blame it all on my innocent friends. Then Sydney gave her the beautiful posy. Our mum was so happy, her cheeks went all rosy. Now this is Sid Gibbons, and this is his mum. And there on the slides, our invisible chum. Since Sid learned his lesson and stopped blaming others, Kevin and him have been closer than brothers. I wonder if you have a make-believe friend, an invisible pal upon whom you depend. If no one believes, you don't grumble or moan, because one thing's for certain, you're not on your own. Wasn't that fantastic? I absolutely love that story. What did you think, guys? If you like this story, please drop a comment below, say hello, tell me your favourite story, and hopefully I'll do some more of these soon for you. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Bye.